Here's what happened at round 8 of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship at Uddevalla in Sweden. Ken Roczen got off to the perfect start, and from there he was never headed. Gauthier Paulin started in second. Zach Osborne crashed out of fourth on the opening lap. Other riders had to take evasive action in what were very slippery conditions after morning rain. Tommy Searle started about 14th, and then he had this crash after being squeezed by Mattis Caro. He would eventually not finish the race because of a mechanical problem. Jordi Tixier, well, he got up as high as 18th, but 2 crashes, and that was him out of the race, out of the points. Nicolas Aubin, he found himself having a good battle with Christophe Charlier and Nick Treese. This was a battle for 8th and 9th, and eventually it was Treese who went down after a little bit of elbow contact with Charlier. Jake Nichols was having a good ride. He was in 5th position, but eventually got past, but it was Roczen who went through to win. In MX1 Race 1, championship leader Commander Sal was riding with a dislocated shoulder after a crash in Belgium 1 week earlier. So 1 point then, the gap between him and Kai Rowley. Kai Rowley got a good start, he was second and then fell at the second turn, and everybody pretty much ran over him and the bike and left him stranded down in 35th position. The 2 Hondas of Rui Gonçalves and Evgeny Bobryshev, well, they battled hard and they were up front doing the damage, but Frossard eventually found himself into 2nd position, chasing down Stephen Frossard. Commander Sal was riding a little bit cautious, understandably, and Philipp Arts went through. He wasn't so kind with Max Nagel, though. Eventually, Commander Sal would finish in 8th position. Bobryshev, though, got caught 3 laps to go by Stephen Frossard on the Yamaha, and it was Frossard who would eventually go on and win the race. Bobryshev was 2nd from Borg to Dijker. Kai Rowley was 5th. The 2nd MX2 race, once again, Ken Roczen got a good start, held a tight line around the inside, and no one saw which way he went. His teammate Jeffrey Hurlings made a good start. Tommy Searle made a better start, and eventually he found himself challenging with the likes of Gauthier Paulin, Max Anstey, and Nicolas Aubin. But it was Paulin who eventually found his way into 3rd ahead of Max Anstey. Tony Boutron was up in the running in the early part of the race, but had no answer to the quick guys in this championship campaign. Tommy Searle went by, and as he found a way past Max Anstey and Arnold Tonus tried to close down. Tommy Searle in 5th position, and he made this mistake. Eventually, Tonus would finish down in 8th. Gauthier Paulin on the Monster Energy Yamaha, he made his way to 3rd, ahead of Tommy Searle and Max Anstey, whilst Jeffrey Hurlings found his way into 2nd. And with 1 week before his home Grand Prix, Ken Roczen was victorious this weekend in Sweden with a 1-1 perfect score. In the 2nd race in MX1, Stephen Frossard got off to a good start, and really he was on his own at the front of the field. The 2 Hondas of, well, the Honda of Rui Gonçalves and the KTM of Tony Kai Rowley, they battled for 2nd and 3rd in the beginning of the race. Eventually, Gonçalves started to drop back as he came under pressure from Philipp Arts and then the number 2 of Max Nagel. Gonçalves would eventually finish in 8th place. Evgeny Bobryshev came from 13th. He overhauled his teammate to go into 6th position. He would eventually go on to finish in 4th, which was good enough for 2nd overall. Kender Dijker started in 7th, found his way into 3rd when he passed David Philipp Arts, but then middle of the race he started to drop back. Commander Sal, meanwhile, he found his way up into 7th position, and that's where he would stay. He would lose the championship lead as a result of that. 3 or 4 laps to go. Kender Dijker, number 9, started to fade. Philipp Arts went through, so did Bobryshev, and Ramon did as well. But no one was a match for Stephen Frossard. He won here in 2010. He won again late this weekend.